Let's go.
Alrighty. And ready?
Ready? Let's
In
go.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Simulated Podcast. We got a very, very special guest, Boris Cholera. And he is a real estate agent. He got his marketing degree for his bachelor's. And he is a fucking legend. And I'll tell you why. This guy knows the American dream is trash, right? And the move is to go to Dubai, man. So tell me, what are the benefits of moving to Dubai?
All right, straight off the bat, right?
You know, straight out the bat.
All right, so yeah, as you said, I have expanded my real estate business out to Dubai, and there's very specific reasons for that. I like that the idea of the American dream, I don't personally think that it's dead, but I think just like everything else, that it evolves.
Okay.
Because in reality, what is the American dream, right? The American dream is for individual prosperity, upward social mobility, for economic mobility for yourself and your family.
Yeah.
And to be able to do it with working hard and, with very few barriers, right? So that's why today the American dream is not dead, but also at the same time, it's not restricted just to America. It's an ideology.
Okay.
And so we live in a globalized world. And the globalized world says, okay, go find what success looks like for yourself. Because back in the day when the concept of the American dream was initiated, there was really only one place in the world where you could make that happen, and that was over here in America.
Yep.
We live in a globalized world. There's many more countries with freedom, many more countries that offer prosperity. It's like that from that show, The Newsroom, with Jeff Daniels, that famous scene where he's being asked...
What's the Newsroom? I've never heard of the Newsroom.
It's basically a TV show. There's one famous scene where this woman is asking Jeff Daniels, what makes America number one? And
I think he's like, why is America number one? He's like, we're like the 50th in like education
Exactly,
and all this stuff.
There was
and, like,
no metric.
America's trash at that point, right? Yeah.
There was no metric where we were number one.
Yeah. Maybe military.
Military, exactly. So other countries, in terms of health, in terms of medical, in terms of education,
Yeah.
they have surpassed. So the globalized world says, live the American dream, but you can do it really anywhere in terms of what success looks like for you. So for me, the reason I go to Dubai is, for my future family, right? Safety is very important to me. As you know,
That's wholesome,
places like LA, San Francisco, Chicago, Detroit, New York, safety has gone down the shitter, right? So just like I think last night or 2 nights ago, Oxnard, there was a gunman in a movie. You hear mass shootings every single day. There was 2 people murdered. They were on a lookout for Angeles Crest Highway, and they were murdered just by being on a scenic
Wrong place, wrong times.
Wrong place, wrong time.
But that's not fair.
That's not fair. You can't do like normal stuff anymore. Homelessness has gone up. Back then when our parents and our grandparents were coming out over here, the level of income would let you buy a house. You could work a regular job, be able to buy a house, give your family
And
a
not
good
even
home.
dual income. You could be single income.
Single income, exactly.
Yeah.
So now we're dual income, and the variance between cost of living in terms of property prices or rents, if you're renting, has gone up so much, and education, colleges have gotten so expensive. If you see some of the tuition numbers from like the 60s and 70s, it's laughable.
Yeah. Like $100 max.
Yeah,
whatever.
like $100 a semester for like UCLA, something like that.
Crazy.
And now you're in 6 figures. Like, everybody's in hundreds of thousands of student debt, and that's why they're like hoping that the government, cancels the debt.
Yeah, it's crazy. They cancel those was it the PPP loans? How many P's is it? 3P loans.
3P loans.
They can cancel the PPP loan, but they can't cancel student debt, which is, it's unfair. Because, like, if you're in student debt, in my opinion, right, and that's gone, that money that you would have paid towards back to the loan, you would just spend that, let's say, $600,000 a month to the economy, the basic GDP. That's what it is. No one sees that. What's going on?
There's a whole different podcast for like misuse funds.
Which happens a lot. Like, we're not going to talk about it because I feel like I'll be canceling a heartbeat. But
yeah, exactly.
Losing $2 trillion somehow.
Oh yeah, accounting losses. Billions of dollars went over here. We missed that. Got misplaced.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Okay, this talk about it. What you said in the middle of that homelessness. How would you personally solve the homelessness crisis?
That's a very interesting question. I'll tell you what other countries do. I'll tell you what Dubai does, since you're asking about Dubai.
Let's do Dubai.
For their citizens, for the people that come on visa, even if they've earned their visa, because there is a way to earn your visa through buying property and other ways. If you're unable to provide for yourself and you're going the route of homelessness, they just don't let you stay in the country. And on top of that, citizens, they basically receive a home.
Oh, wow.
And, they did the same thing in Libya, actually. So Libya, they would give homes to, even newlyweds, right? If they couldn't afford their own home, they would give them a home. Egypt, if you drive from the main city of Cairo and you go out to the pyramids, there's a bunch of older buildings, and those older buildings have homeless or unhoused in them. So, it's not the nicest thing, but they have a roof over their head. So that's one way that they keep them clean. So over here, there is a lot of mental health issues that don't get addressed.
Yep.
And there's a lot of shelters that don't get the funding that they need. So then they basically have people that end up on the streets.
Yep. So all the psychologists and psychiatrists out there, we respect what you do. Shout out to Prince especially.
Exactly.
And his wife. Yeah. Keep doing what you're doing, because solving mental health overall is a very, very tough journey as a society, but just keep at it for all my psychologists and psychiatrists out there. But lots of benefits to Dubai, sounds like.
Yeah. So
is it called the Dubai dream now?
The Dubai dream, yeah. I think it's the global dream, the world dream, right?
Yeah.
So, over there, they, you can still raise your family. Your kids are still your kids. I'm trying to I don't want to say too much to get, this podcast canceled, but
Put me on Spotify, Joe Rogan.
Exactly. But, there's a lot of stuff over here where, the way your kids are raised, you may not be able to instill your own ideologies in them from your family's past, your culture's past, or religion's past. And over there you are. Now, I know, Dubai is primarily a Muslim country, but over there you can be of any religion. I went to a beautiful Hindu temple when I was over there.
No kidding.
Actually, that temple is probably the best Hindu temple that I've ever been in.
Wow. That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have churches and everything. You can practice whatever religion. Now, there's a concept of freedom, right? So, a lot of times in the Western society, I'm only saying this because people have said this to me. And people have said this to people that I know in Dubai, that they've mentioned it. One of them mentioned it on my podcast, is that there's this ideology of freedom that I feel like has gotten misconstrued, where somebody made an argument to a colleague of mine in Dubai that says, oh, we have freedom over here in the Western society. If I want to walk into the mall wearing a thong, I can do that. Right. So is that really freedom?
I think I wouldn't want to show my kids that, at the age of
exactly. So
a certain age. Yeah.
They have a good ideology in terms of common sense towards, that kind of indecent behavior in a public setting is not allowed, and it's very frowned upon. And same thing with, PDA, right? That way you're also, taking into account the people that are around you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I remember this. We went to Faith Baptist together in elementary school. I remember one of the teachers taught me this thing, and it stuck to me. And it was about freedom and about cursing. It's like, why can't I say the F word around
Cursing,
people,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Your freedom is freedom so long as it's not disturbing someone else's freedom. I think that's what, I think it was Jabber Sorry said this to me.
Exactly.
Right? So if I say the F word, right, in front of a little kid, I just probably ruined that kid's, discipline, structure, everything, just because oh, this cool guy said F word. I can say the F word all I want, Mom.
Exactly.
So,
especially to kids, because kids are very impressionable.
Yes.
Brains are growing at that time, and to no fault of that child, they're gonna pick up on what they hear, what they see, right?
Yeah. I know it naturally happened high school, high school anyway. So let's just, let it happen as it happens.
As it happens. Yeah. We all go through those stages.
Yeah.
Right. But
so freedom is true freedom up until it disturbs someone else's freedom, right?
Exactly. And I feel like over here, we've gotten past that, where people are so individualized on their own freedom that they're overlooking somebody else's freedom, somebody else's comfort level, right? So there's a level of common sense over there. Like, no, be decent. Now you don't like for, especially speaking for women, because a lot of times I hear when I bring up Dubai, oh, women are oppressed. They're not. They can do anything. They can work. They can own a business. They can, they don't have to wear hijab. You know, everybody thinks that women have to be fully covered up. Just do me a favor. Go on Instagram and search the tag Dubai and see how many women are out there not wearing a hijab.
It's like a Las Vegas vibes out there.
Exactly. It's like a Miami vibe.
In Miami, actually, yeah.
So, but in the public places like malls, restaurants, everybody's decent. Nobody's cussing. I'll tell you this much, you don't see somebody yelling on the streets. I was just in Westwood the other day at Target, and I walked out and there's some guy yelling with a metal stick, oh, if I wanted to snipe all you guys, you wouldn't be able to stop me. I'm so good, this and that. And
man, I hope he's talking about Call of Duty, bro. But he's not.
And so but the thing is, that's one example. Like, how many times do you go in main city LA, whether it's like the West Side or mid city or like especially downtown LA, and you see these people that are like yelling random things or screaming on the road. That goes back to the mental health thing. But in other countries, you just like Dubai, or Dubai's not a country, UAE, but Dubai, the city, the emirate, you don't see that, right? Another thing why I like it is that I am not against paying taxes. Like, obviously as a business owner, I try to, I do what every decent business owner does, is that you use the legal routes to have write-offs and you minimize your taxable bill. But at the end of the day, I still pay a certain amount, and I'm not against it if I can see the benefit, right? The roads are clean. We have the top medical system in the world. We have, the best educational, best emergency services. If I see all of that, it doesn't hurt as much because that you can tell that your taxes that you're paying are going to quality of life. But here in California, where we pay the highest taxes out of the whole union, we have the crappiest roads. We have not the best. We have the most expensive medical system. Your medical system is still a whole separate fee. And then, if you want to go to like a specialized thing, that's a whole other cost other than the monthly that you're paying for your, health insurance. And education system we're not ranked top in the world at all. And, then universities, you want people argue, oh, universities, but how many hundreds of thousands of dollars are those? How much does it cost to go to a good university like UCLA or USC or Pepperdine?
Yo, that's going to be a clip, dog.
Blooper reel.
No, it's going to be an intro.
Pepperdine.
No, but just, no.
You went to Pepperdine.
Yeah, I went to Pepperdine. I get what you're saying, right? Because like there's a huge barrier to entry, right? Where either you're legacy, or you have a lot of money, you want to go to USC, Stanford, the Ivy Leagues, Harvard, etc. It's a huge barrier to entry, right? Not just for domestic people, but also for international people, and it's insane, right? Question to you: for Dubai, is the healthcare free? Is the education system free?
It's not free, but it's much better.
Okay,
and
so let's talk one by one. So education in Dubai, from your birth to high school to college, how's that? Have you looked it up?
I have not done enough what I should do, but I do know that it is definitely one of the world's top education systems.
Great.
Healthcare system is one of the world's tops. Healthcare system, it's ranked. You can look it up.
Yeah.
If you look at the roads, I was there. Cleanest roads, not a single pothole. Everything is super neat and clean. And I'll tell you this much: just the vibe, if you will, because that's a word that gets thrown around these days. The vibe of it is like a human life, because you could go out at 9-10 p.m. on a Wednesday and there are people in the streets, and it's not like sketchy people. These are families with their kids. They're going around, they're going to restaurants, they're eating dinner, they're just walking around the park. And because there is so much safety and security there, people are not afraid to go out with their families out at night and just have a good time. I was there on multiple parts of the city, and it's extremely safe, extremely clean. And, just the level of people, I will also say the level of people over there, because Dubai is mainly expats. And
what's an expat for the audience?
expat is basically somebody that lived, like if I am a citizen of the US and I decide to move to Dubai, which I have and I will,
Gonna miss you.
I will be an expat in Dubai.
Yeah.
So, and they have people from almost 200 nationalities over there.
That's
English,
almost every country, bro.
yeah, that's almost every country. You have English is a main language over there.
And Hindi is another language I heard.
Hindi is very popular over there. I was speaking to everybody in Hindi, and even my dad asked me, like, why are you speaking to everybody in Hindi? And I'm like, everybody's responded so far, so I'm just rolling with it.
Hindi bolte, bhai.
Exactly. Even I was asking for directions, and they would just respond back. I ordered food in Hindi. I asked for directions in Hindi. So, and everybody speaks. It's even the Arab people. Like, you could get away if you don't need to know Arabic to be in Dubai. You can, if you speak English, if you speak Hindi, Tagalog. There's so many Filipinos over there.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell all my Filipino friends.
Exactly. There's so many Filipinos over there. And what I was trying to get to in terms of the whole cleanliness, no homelessness, the tax is zero. There's no personal income tax. They've just started a 9% corporate tax if your corporation makes over about 370,000 dirhams, which is their currency, which is about $100,000 a year. Then there's a 9% corporate tax.
But it just still sounds like Dubai is a gold mine right now, right?
Exactly.
Like if you want to make money, and like you said, it's now not the American dream.
It's the global dream. It's the global
dream in Dubai.
Because there's other countries like Singapore is another beautiful place, right? That offers its own level of success depending on what you're trying to do. India is such a growing economy that Goldman Sachs has said India's economy could surpass the US by 2075.
Yeah, I saw that report. It's insane.
Exactly. So we live in a globalized world where every country, really almost every country, I can't say every country, but almost every country has some level of freedom.
Gotcha.
And even passport wise, Singapore.
Which country? It just Singapore became number one, I think.
Singapore is number one, and I believe Japan was number two.
Yep. Surpassed was it the British one, the US one, everything.
Yeah. And I think Europe, if I'm not mistaken, now requires you to apply for a visa if you're a U.S. citizen. Before, if you're a U.S. citizen,
gonna implement that 2024, I think January.
Yeah. So before, if you're a U.S. citizen, let's pack our bags. Let's go to. Yeah. Remember Harold and Kumar go to Guantanamo Bay? They were just like, let's go to Amsterdam, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it was. If you're a U.S. citizen, come on through.
Yep.
Now, no, you need to apply for.
That's crazy. There's gonna be like economic shift from like the U.S. dollar flooding into Europe's government's pockets, right?
Another thing. So you have the one economic superpower, India, and what I've been now talking about Dubai is the UAE, United Arab Emirates. And India have now settled on the deal that their international trade will be settled in the Indian rupee versus the US dollar.
That's good for the rupees.
That's very good for the rupees.
Yeah, it's 1 to 80 right now, and I hope to see it level off.
Exactly, because when we were growing up, for the longest time, it was 1 to 50, and then it's just been going up since.
So you're saying, in a nutshell, Dubai provides safety. It's a tax haven.
Crime is zero. Almost zero.
Tax haven. Crime is zero. Healthcare is great. Education's great.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the true dream to actually, if you want to make business, that's where to go. Sounds
exactly.
like, and have a great family.
Exactly. And for the things, Dubai's economy is not based off of oil. It's based on of tourism and foreign investment.
Mm-hmm.
And they've opened the gates so much. Like right now, I can go buy a property for 2 million dirhams, which translates to about 550,000 US, which still today, people say Dubai is expensive. 550,000 US could get you a very nice, newly built 2-bedroom condo.
Okay.
And
so if anyone wants to move to Dubai, this is the time. 550 condo.
They're seeing about 20 to 30% appreciation year over year.
Okay.
And now, go ahead.
Question to you. So if you were to move to Dubai, which it sounds like you are, what would be your now role there? What would be your job or career?
Real estate.
Real estate?
They have agents over there, same as over here.
So you would be a real estate agent in Dubai?
Yeah, real estate broker, yeah.
Okay. What about, because last time we were talking, you said you want to do perhaps multinational real estate. Is that still a goal?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way real estate works is, and that's how I'm able to do business in Dubai right now, is that, with agents, we work together,
Yeah.
in terms of, I have connections in Dubai somebody wants to buy a property in Dubai today, like you say, hey, if you come to me, hey, Paris, I want to buy a property in Dubai. I already have partners over there that know the area, know the little streets here and there that could guide you the right way. No, especially what is very big over there is off plan, which is buying directly from the developer. So they know the good developers, the not so good developers, the good areas, the better areas to invest in, the not so good areas to invest in, because short-term rentals are very big. Airbnb is huge over there, right? You're seeing returns, close to 10% on just Airbnb, which is significantly higher than what you're seeing over here, especially when then you consider in no property tax, no income tax, all that good stuff. And you can do the same thing in any other country, right? I've sent buyers to Brazil.
You've actually done this.
Yeah, I've sent buyers to Brazil.
Oh, wow.
I've sent buyers to Portugal. I've sent buyers. I just yesterday had a Zoom call that we're sending a buyer, somebody that wants to leave the U.S. and go to Australia. I just had a Zoom call setting her up yesterday. And that's another thing, is that we are seeing a shift of people leaving the country. We're seeing a shift of people leaving the state for sure, right? My parents left 30 years in California. They left for Nevada to Vegas, right?
We're seeing moved to Miami, to Texas.
Yeah, I got friends moving to North Carolina. I got friends moving to Florida. So leaving the state for sure, that is happening.
You're seeing a shift of the U.S. population leaving the country.
Now I'm seeing the country. We're seeing a lot to Spain, Portugal. Portugal had a EU visa thing where you bought a property, you could get it. That's ended now.
Portugal is actually a crypto haven. Did you know this?
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. So it's a crypto haven where there's, I think, no taxes on any crypto cashed out, basically.
Okay.
So it's like, I think, zero and you're zero, or you can convert it to an LLC and then, do your taxes that way. But it's a crypto haven in Portugal.
There you go.
So that's maybe why.
That could be why. And
there's a surf town too, for the surfers out there. Portugal is a great surf town for
Spain. I've seen a lot of movement towards Spain. I'm currently talking to somebody that has a bunch of investment properties around Southern California.
Spain is a top 5 countries to party in. Like,
yeah,
that's it.
Ibiza.
And then there's Mallorca if you want to relax a little bit. Yeah.
So I am seeing a lot of movement to Spain. I am seeing movement to Australia. That's not my first client.
Australia?
Yeah.
Why Australia? They say why?
That's, her case, her husband's from Australia. He's an Australian citizen. But, people are loving what, Sydney or Melbourne has to offer. And just seeing what's happening in the States right now, a lot of people are making their moves, be like, okay, this doesn't fit our lifestyle. This doesn't fit what we're trying to achieve. We want to go over there that does, hence the globalized dream, right? Not necessarily the the American dream, but the American dream, like I said, is not restricted to America anymore.
You should trademark this phrase before. So
exactly.
Or reserve it, whatever you got to do. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. So
exactly. Like, I mean, you and I have friends that do business all over the world.
Yep.
So, they have office here, they have office there, everywhere. So, and that's in this day and age, I think it's like almost mandatory to take advantage of the fact that we have a global playing field.
I love that. So let's talk about more of a real estate journey, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are in the real estate game. I had a previous person on the podcast, Shito or Sheena. We love her. We love her to death. I asked her this question. I want to know your answer, actually.
Okay.
So Paris is a real estate agent, right, currently, and it looks like that's gonna be his future passion. But on the history side, what's the craziest house you've ever seen or sold?
So the craziest house I've seen, there's actually a few different ones, because there's some crazy stuff that each one offers.
Yeah.
I've been in $100 million home. And what's funny is that home was sold for exactly 100 million.
Nice.
And I have an Instagram picture where I'm on the bathroom carpet in the Fonz pose. And and you can go look up that property. It's in Malibu. It's on Pacific Coast Highway.
Yeah.
And you see the picture, the bathroom picture, and you see the carpet and like the background. And then you can go on my Instagram and there's me on the carpet, just like in the Fonz pose.
I think I remember this one. Shout out your Instagram real quick. What's your Instagram?
At Realtor Paris.
Yeah. If you're looking for properties, this your boy.
Right. I don't want to take away from Shito. She's the master of the valley. If you want to go over to the west side, main city, I'm your boy.
Yeah, dude, she's legend. She's a legend.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what was the highest sale that you did then?
The highest sale I've done is just around 3 million. But I'm working on a couple I'm working on a couple deals right now that will definitely surpass
Yeah,
that.
if you know 3 million on the agent side, how much they're making, that's good shit, bro. Good shit. Okay, that was difficult.
Yeah, so just shy of 3 million. I've done a couple properties that range, but I'm working on a couple things that will definitely surpass that.
Okay. So talking about real estate, how do you see the market trends? Especially today, I think the Fed just released some notes that they're gonna keep raising interest rates.
Yeah, so that's interesting. They just raised it another 0.25%,
Yep.
which we were expecting. So,
So
uh,
how's the market trend right now for the real estate market?
so right now we're so dependent on, the mortgage rates have definitely defined the shift
Mm-hmm.
that's happened because, as you know, 2 years ago we were trading in interest rates 2.5 to high twos. I've even seen some, 1.9. There's some banks, if you have a really good history with them in terms of deposit, they'll lose money in the rate. So I've seen 1.9 as low as 1.9
And
a
that's
couple
still on
years
30
ago.
or 15?
That's 30. Like I said, these guys, my clients have a very good, depository relationship with that
Yeah.
bank. So when you have certain banks, if you have that level of relationship with them, they'll like lose money on the loan just to keep you. So yeah, 30-year 1.9, I saw that loan.
That's nuts.
And so that time has come and gone. So here's where the market has come to basically a standoff. Uh, and I get it from the seller side, right? Like, let's say you bought your house. Let's say you're sitting at 2.5% interest rate, and even let's say you've had that house for 10 years, but you refied a couple years ago
Mm-hmm.
for obvious reasons. Now you weren't thinking, hey, I've been in this house for 10 years, or I need to downsize, or hey, I've had a couple kids, we need to grow the home. Um, let's buy a new place. But it's like, wait, hold the brakes. We're paying 2.5%. If I go buy a house right now, I'm gonna pay 6-7%. And that makes a huge difference on the monthly mortgage payment.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're downsizing, you could essentially downsize your home and then still pay the same, if not more, on the monthly payment because of the interest rate.
Yeah.
So that's what has sellers not wanting to go to market. Or what we've seen at the brokerage level before, our business was about 5% lease listings versus sale listings. Now we're 40 to 50%.
Whoa, it's a huge jump from
10x. For lease listings, because and that's something, and I get it. That's what I would do as a homeowner, is saying, why would I give up this 2.5 interest rate that I have? Let me rent out the property. It'll actually cash flow because rents also went up, because you have a lot of buyers that had buyer fatigue, like saying, screw this. I've when the people were putting in offers and things were going crazy over asking. And even in today's market with today's interest rates on the, what I would call the LA mainstream market, which is your 800,000 to like 1.2, 1.3 million, there's still multiple offers happening today. Not to the extent of what it was 2 years ago, but you still do see competition. Now your higher end market, your 2.5, 3 million plus, has definitely slowed down. But there's still competition. So you have buyer fatigue that's saying, screw this, I'm just going to rent for a bit until things, either interest rates calm down, or like just the market calms down in general. So now you have a lot of people going to the rental market. So rents went up. So the sellers are like, hey, rents are up, my interest rate's low, so my mortgage payment's low. I'm just going to rent this house out and then go buy my next property that fits my need, whether it's an upsize or a downsize. And that's what's been happening.
Wouldn't a smart investor who has extra cash want to still buy a second property because he knows in the future he can refinance?
I think yes, absolutely. There is an opportunity in the luxury market. As I said, it's slowed down. I personally have a $3 million listing. It was a $3.2 million listing when we came to market, which in any day of the week, if this property went on the market last year, 3.2, we would have gotten that by now. The fact that the luxury market has slowed down, we reduced to 3 million, and now we've just reduced it to 2,925. Okay. Property's immaculate, Hollywood Hills, but the luxury market slowed down. So there is an opportunity in the luxury market. There is also an opportunity in the commercial sector.
Okay.
Retail offices. That's really the thing that's taken the hit, is commercial properties, because the pandemic caused a mental shift into, work from home, wanted to stay at home, eat at home. The home had to become everything. It became, obviously it stayed as the home. It became the office. It became the gym. It became the kids' school. The home has to become everything. And so as we are now I've exited the pandemic, essentially, you still have that mentality of, wanting to stay more at home, wanting to work from home. People don't want to go back and sitting in traffic, especially in LA. So retail spaces are definitely suffering. Commercial properties are definitely suffering. Do I think that's forever? No, absolutely not. Everything's a cycle, whether it's up, whether it's down. Even the same thing with Dubai that's seeing 30% appreciation year over year. I'm gonna be the first one to say that's not a sustainable market. It's gonna see its cycle, right? So
I honestly, so I have this honest opinion just because I always look and pay attention to things. I see a lot of things happening on September 1st.
yeah,
I don't know what it is,
a lot
but
of
like small things, like if you go to Woodland Hills right now, there's a new Hermes store opening up, but it's in September 2023. If you go to any retail shop, everything is opening September 2023. And a lot of corporations are demanding workers to go back in person September 2023. I think it was one of the top 4 companies and finance companies. Workers got to come back. Everyone's got to come back. All these top Fortune 500s. So I think they're trying to adjust this commercial real estate in a positive favor to help it grow.
Yeah, that's what there's opportunity to buy. If you're a commercial investor, there's opportunity for you right now.
Yeah, September 1st, man, 2023, I'm telling you.
And that's because, depending on the industry, but that's when really September or October is when holiday buying starts.
Yep.
You have your holiday season. So that's when they need to be like basically pedal to the metal.
And kids go back to school, you have that season.
Exactly.
Yep. So
that's their busy period. So that's when they really got to be pedal to the metal. I've been in the retail industry. I sold cars. Holiday season was our on time. That's when we had to be like, we were working like 12, 13-hour days, and we were just like moving.
Do you ever see the real estate market dropping below, let's say 5% or so?
You're talking interest rates?
Interest rates, yeah. Do you see interest rates?
I do see
back?
interest. I do see us settling in the future. I obviously I don't have a crystal ball, but I do see us settling somewhere maybe as low as high 4s to low to mid 5s. I do see that. I do see us getting into a minor recession, and every time if you look at it, any recession in history, interest rates go down in a recession, and this is
to encourage buying.
It's purposely induced.
Yep. This just needs to be controlled, right? So. I talked to a friend the other day, and they have a property at 5% interest. What is your advice to them?
What do they want to do?
In terms of just make more cash flows or just have more money in their bank? What would they do?
It's their situation, right? There's no one solution for everything, right? Okay. So if somebody has a house at 5%, if they're living in it, that's their home, then that's their home, right? If they're thinking to move, if they have the capital to be able to buy another property, and this one will cover most of the mortgage, if not all the mortgage, then definitely, add to your portfolio, because real estate, especially, are they in LA?
Yeah.
Okay. LA is an appreciation game. So that's another thing with real estate investment. There's areas you got to look at, either whether you're doing an appreciation play long-term or a month-to-month cash flow play. And cities like LA, Vegas, their appreciation place. There's other cities out there that are more month to month, like Cleveland, Ohio is more of a month to month income play, but you can't expect high levels of appreciation 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. LA is an appreciation place. So if they are looking to move and they can comfortably, without putting themselves in like a tough situation, get another property while putting this on rent, and let's call it break even on the mortgage of the rent, I would definitely do that. But if they need the money to buy the next house that meets their needs, then obviously then sell to buy. So it really depends on what suits them best.
Okay. And then you were talking about a little bit about your past and history. I just want to give a quick update for everyone that's listening. Boris is one of the most, I guess, sharp, just killer mentality that he's ever had. He's never been afraid to try new things. So, and you can give a background about this, but what is your advice to people who just want to, leave their career or hop to a different career, just shift gears a little bit? What is your advice to those people?
I would not advise for someone to do what I did because it takes a lot on you. And there's definitely been some dark days that I saw because of it, but
what's a quick background? Let's talk about that.
So basically what I did was, I burned my boats, and I just quit everything. I didn't have the, when they say you go into reserve or you go into business, the one I chose was real estate, but you go into any business, right? You don't know when your next paycheck's coming, right? So I burned my boats and I didn't have the reserves that I should have had or, should have saved up to before doing it. And I just went for it, right? And there were times where, I didn't know like, hey, when's my next paycheck coming in? When is, how am I going to do this? How am I going to afford this? I would start thinking like, should I have that Starbucks coffee? Like $2-3 coffee. I'm like thinking about it. So it takes a lot out of it, but at the same time, that's the kind of mentality that builds you, right? We talk a little bit about Stoicism, right? So Stoicism is something I learned along that process, because before I would wear my emotions on my face and anybody can tell that I'm suffering and I'm going through some stuff, and I'd be that mopey kid in the back. But now, through that, I think everybody just in general respects someone that is stoic. And whether you're with somebody, you're doing a business deal with somebody across from you, you have to realize that they don't care what's going on in your life.
Exactly.
Right. Whether your girl just broke up with you, whether something's going on, you don't know if you're going to be able to make rent this month, to them, doesn't matter. They're sitting you in front of your business, whatever you're offering, whatever product or service you're offering them, that's what they're paying attention to. That's where you got to maintain the stoicism. And you have to go at it in a way where you're giving your best sales pitch, but also that you're not desperate. Right. Because as soon as you sound desperate, you're done. And the same thing, will get a little bit into a woman. If you're desperate, like you're desperately trying to go after a woman and run after a woman, the more you chase after, the more she's going to run away.
Yeah.
Right. So
I have this analogy. It's like if you're holding sand in your hand, the more you squeeze it, the more it's going to fall out. But if you have like this little control balance over it, the sand will remain.
Exactly. So when you go through these tough times, they teach you. And that's where I feel like we need to embrace on the mental health, is that accepting that you will go through bad times. If you try to do anything, if you try to progress in any way, shape, or form, whether it's through business or physical or emotional, like relationship, you will go through bad stuff. And that's one of the things that I feel like we can adjust with over here, is that we are so like, we were the most overly medicated countries in the world, where if you feel any sort of discomfort, here's a pill, and comes with 20 different side effects. And so being able to accept like, hey, and I went to therapy when I was initially going through this stuff, and luckily, my therapist didn't, therapists can't prescribe pills, psychologists can, but she even said like, she was calling me out on my stuff. Like, hey, you give up too early, right? I'm noticing a pattern of you give up too early. As soon as the going gets tough, you fuck off. So that, her telling me that kind of woke me up a little bit. And it was funny because I'm religious. I believe in God. And when I went into real estate, and I joined this team, which I'm still with today, I feel like God was listening, because I said, when I told God, I said, okay, whatever happens, good or bad, I'm not giving up. Like, this is what I'm going to do. And homeboy heard me.
Shout out.
He heard me, because I walk in, and like within a month of me joining this team, we have the team lead who runs like 50 other businesses. Now he's a good friend that I talk to him on the daily. But before, I was just joining the team, I didn't know he was. And, so he's never around because he's got like 50 other businesses that he's dealing with. And then I got the one person that was supposed to be like our, what we call in real estate, the rainmaker, and supposed to be giving us deals and like giving us like practice and like showing us the ropes. He was between here and another state where he has his other business, and we never saw him either. And then we had somebody else who's be a director of sales, who she kind of really didn't know what she was doing. And if she hears this, sorry, that's my honest opinion. And so
hey, tough love, it's all good.
Exactly. And then we had somebody who was supposed to be our marketing director who went to prison. So and there's me sitting there a month in real estate, like, all right, what do I do now? So that was my test. And that's, I think, what mentality wise, stoicism wise, is anytime you go towards something and you're trying to achieve something and you're hit with roadblocks, to not complain about the roadblocks, but to view them as a test. Whether you believe in God or you want to call it the universe or whatever, there is something out there is testing you to see how much you really want it and if you deserve it. Because everybody wants the big stuff, right? Everybody wants, like Andrew Tate calls himself the top G, or everybody calls him the top G. Everybody wants that lifestyle, to have 30 Lambos in the driveway and driving all around the world. But there's barriers that come in the way, and only certain people will go through those barriers and come out on top. That's why there's called the 1%. And if you really look at, like, when I was seeing the 1%, and I was seeing like 1% in real estate, right? Top 1%. And you'd hear it's like, oh my God, this person is doing crazy business. I don't know how I'm going to get to this level. And then once I started looking at the numbers and how many transactions they're doing, I'm like, yo, 1% is not that far off.
It should be like 0.01%, I would imagine.
Yeah. So like, 1%, top 1% is not as far off as you think.
What's the number?
What's the number?
Yeah. What's top 1% real estate?
Top 1% in real estate, I think if you're doing like 20 to 25 million a year in sales, you're probably top 1%. Which on West Side
That's
LA,
like 2 houses a month, more or less.
Yeah.
Could be.
If you sell 2 houses a month, and in West Side LA where, properties are $2-3 million like all day long, it's not that. It's not
so
like
you had to break
the biggest hill to climb.
You got to break the next 10th. Yeah. The 10th space, like you get that 0.1%.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
What's funny is that we actually had, obviously real estate slowed down this year, and our team was actually called top 1.5% in the nation. Right.
Okay.
And I'm looking at us and I'm like, none of us have an escrow right now. But we were still by numbers.
It's
top
like
1.5%.
It's like a pat on the back, but like, dude, like we're just, what in your hands, it's
exactly.
So
and I don't want to undermine the people that are top 1% and are top 0.5%, whatever.
But you're talking about the hustlers. Like if they want to hustle, they got to hustle 10 times harder than they actually think.
Exactly. And I do believe that there are a lot of industries are impacted right now. So again, I don't want to undermine how much work that it gets to be done, because one thing I want to get out there is that the process is simple, but not easy. So when I say it's simple, I mean, you do X, Y, and Z and you get there, but obviously X, Y, and Z are not easy, right? Getting to $20-25 million a year in real estate is not easy, but it's simple. There's certain processes that you do that get you there. And you just have to be disciplined enough, because that's another thing, is that motivation is very temporary. We're all looking to get motivated, but what's motivation? Motivation, you listen to a motivational video on YouTube, and I listen to a bunch of those, and it gets you going for 5-10 minutes, maybe half a day, and then as soon as like you get a little bit tired, or you like something else comes in mind, we get distracted with social media, you start veering off, and that's when
Follow
discipline.
me on Simulated Podcast.
Yeah. Speaking of social media. But that's when discipline comes into play, right? And that's why I think I like the gym, because it keeps my mind disciplined more so than my body, right? Obviously, I want to be in good shape. I want to be strong. I want to have a longevity in my life, physically speaking. But it keeps my mind disciplined, because I probably don't want to go to the gym 6 or 7 out of 10 times, but it's so embedded in my routine that I know I have to go. Especially leg day. I hate leg day. I never want to work on my legs.
I love it more actually now.
No, I want to just work out chest and back every single day. I want to do every day should be arm day. And so, but
also I got a bench now, so if you want to work out,
there you go. Let's do that after this. And so it's the discipline, and the same thing comes into your work, your business, right? For me speaking, I don't want to make cold calls. I don't want to call, like just sit there on 2 hours on the phone, but I will. I don't want to door knock. I was door knocking today in Woodland Hills. It was 100 degrees outside. I have every excuse in the book to not do it. But what my why is, what I'm trying to achieve, means more than standing in 100-degree weather.
It's motivations really comes from you talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has to kick in the discipline.
I agree.
It has to kick in the discipline.
Yeah. And it looks like you're hustling with the real estate right now. What would be your advice to someone getting into real estate given your journey?
Given my journey, it is prepare yourself mentally. I think if anything else, it is a mental battle within yourself. Because especially if you're going to just go for being an agent, right? If you're gonna get your license and be somebody's assistant, then obviously then that's a salary you can count on. Or if you're looking to be like a director of operations in real estate, there's a salary you can count on. If you're looking to be an investor, then obviously you probably have some funds to put on a property or flipper. There's all different like regions within real estate. But speaking as just an agent, especially in LA, where like half the population has their real estate license. And it's a very impacted field. There was actually, we saw some statistics at a seminar I went to. And last year, 50% of the homes sold in Southern California, includes LA, Orange County, San Diego. Half the houses sold were sold by somebody that just sold one house that year.
Oh.
So that means that just somebody has their license. Actually, it was more than half actually, but just had one to two houses a year. So that tells me that half the business is going to somebody that doesn't actually have a real estate business. It's like, you have a friend that has a license, you have a cousin that has a license, right? Maybe they're
some people will do a real estate for the license for their own
for their own purchase, right? To avoid paying the commission, or they'll have a friend of theirs that will credit them back, because as a real estate agent, you're allowed to in escrow, you're allowed to credit back a principal, some of your commission. So that some people might do that, right? So half the business is going there. Now the other half, you have a bunch of agents that are running around, either new or a couple years in the game, and they either know or don't know what they're doing. And then you have the big dogs that this is legitimately their business, right? So throughout those different variables, it is very impacted. And then especially if you're in a city like LA, where basically every neighborhood has been hit so many different times, that where you will, no matter if you prospect by door knocking, you will hear people answering the door like, ugh, another real estate agent, really? Like, get out of my house, get out of my property or off my lawn, whatever. You get a cold call. It says, hey, I noticed, I'm calling to see if you have an interest in sale. Oh God, another real estate agent, just hang up on you, or, tell you to fuck off. And I've gotten it all. I've had a guy, I've been told to fuck off every single day. I've had a guy answer his door when I was door knocking butt naked and told me to get off his land. And so like you see it, you hear it, and your why, that carrot in front of you, has to be there enough to maintain that discipline. Like, no, I don't care how many times I'm gonna get told no. If I get told no 100 times, I'm gonna go for that 101st time. So, and really, the biggest thing I would say is create and stick to a schedule, because that's the biggest thing when you're going from being an employee, a job where you have to report 9 to 5 somewhere, and you get a salary. You worked 9 to 5, you did your 8 hours, and at the end of the month, you got your salary, right? So
treat business the same way.
Treat business in terms of the hours. Like, hey, at 9 o'clock, I'm going to start doing this. At 11 o'clock, I'm going to start doing this. If you look at my calendar, the time I'm cold calling, the time I'm door knocking, the time I'm setting, I have time set for appointments. There's no appointment there. Like, but this is my block time. Like, if I get an appointment, if I'm meeting with a buyer or seller, it's only going to be here, because on this time I'm doing something else. I'm prospecting for those appointments, right? I have open house time set on my calendar. There's no open house. There's no property address there, but it's there because once I get an open house, that's the slot that it's keeping.
That's interesting.
So everything's built in. And then also the mental toughness, because you will be putting in the work and you will get no results. You could get lucky here and there and get a deal, but typically expect no results for a decent amount of time.
I really like that. Like, and this is advice that goes in anywhere in the world. That one, just be a stoic person. Two, just work hard. That's all it really comes down to. It boils down to. I got some questions for you, by the way, and I didn't show you these, but are you ready for some simulated questions?
God. Maybe.
You ready? Oh my God. I just introduced this to my podcast. Shout out to Sunny for giving me the great suggestion. You ready?
All right.
All right. We'll start a little light right now. Who's your current celebrity crush?
National or international?
Let's do both.
National, local. I mean, you know the answer to my question.
I know the answer, but give her a shout out. She might hear this. Who is your current celebrity crush?
All right, Selena Gomez. If you're hearing this, let me buy you a drink.
And who's your current celebrity crush? I guess internationally then.
I can't pronounce her name, but it's this Turkish actress.
Okay.
Her name is Hande Erçel. I think that's how you pronounce
Okay.
it. I'm probably butchering her name because I've always seen it.
Uh-huh.
But she's gorgeous.
Is she an artist or
she's an actress, and she's a Turkish actress.
Okay. Well, we'll find the later. Okay. If you were the president or the prime minister, I don't know, something. If you're the president of the U.S. or another country, what would you do?
For what?
What policies would you implement as president?
Oh, you're gonna get this show canceled.
Okay. Shoot, man. I don't know. Go for it. We'll see. Do it.
All right, you can edit this in post if you feel like it. There's one topic that I am I'm more passionate about these days, is that the child trafficking situation that's been happening, and that's been announced, like through the movie Sound of Freedom. You see that it's happening in America, that it's happening here in LA, like also at home. So whatever I have to do to fight that and to create policies that does not allow that to happen and has the highest repercussions possible for anybody caught doing that, that's what I would focus on.
Interesting. Okay. And I think we were trying to touch on this earlier, but another question. What is your greatest way to network?
The greatest way to network is to be of value to somebody, of true value. Finding people. This is the way I network. And this is how I gotten my best clients so far. We were door knocking, me and my partner who I door knock with, and they answered the door, or their mother answered the door, and they were oh yeah, like, hey, like there's this property over there, can you get me more info? Get the info, call, don't call, like doesn't pick up, drive to their house again, just to give them that info, right? And then just keep following up and like giving them more info. Hey, this property over here is kind of like, by the way, we haven't received an answer yet on the first property that they asked for. But hey, there's this other property that came up that is kind of similar to this one and similar price. Maybe you'll be interested in this one, right? So just in any way, shape, or form, being of value. I have another guy that is thinking about selling his house now, and he's going to go to us because, we knocked on his door, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm not trying to sell my house. Do you know a pool guy? I'm trying to get my pool resurfaced. Yes, I have a pool guy. I don't have a pool guy.
But you will find one.
I'll find a pool guy. Yeah. So I found a pool guy, and, then got him the quotes, got him everything. Oh, do you know somebody like a good painter? Mind you, this is when I first started, right? Do you have a good like painter? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'll get you in touch. I don't have a painter. Find a painter. Yeah. So especially when you're first starting out and somebody asks you, hey, do you have this? Can you do this? The answer is yes. Right? Can you meet me here? Can you do that? The answer is yes. You say yes, and you figure out how later.
I think that's the biggest advice I got from, I think, my dad, all the uncles and stuff like that. Yeah. You figure it out.
Yeah. Just say yes so you get your foot in the door, and then you figure it out.
Yeah. And everything. You just figure it out.
Exactly.
Yeah. My TV my AC isn't working. This isn't working. I'll figure it out.
And this goes back to the Stoicism and how you view things, right? So now, if you're moving forward and you have new problems, that you're dealing with, good, because that means you're moving forward, you're doing something, right? And so now, instead of saying, oh, I have to find this guy, a pool guy, no, you get to find him a pool guy. You get to have an opportunity to build a relationship with him.
You brought value to this individual.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's great. I forgot what I was going to say. This is actually really good. This last conversation was really good. But I do want to say, I should not remember. I do want to say a large part of why I do this podcast, I think I said this last time many, many times, is my whole goal is actually just to network people. Like, I want to be like the social plug. If I know someone, I will happily introduce you to that person.
Absolutely.
Like, and if you know someone, or if you're looking for someone, honestly looking for someone, I know literally any person in any industry, in any field. Like, I will find that person.
You're the guy.
I'm the guy. The social plug simulated network is there for a reason. Like, I know everyone. And it happened. You've seen it happen in person. Shit just happens. I figure it out. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, I have no idea what I'm doing, but gotta keep walking. You just keep walking.
But then people that would know the answer.
Yeah.
Because if you can think, there's been plenty of times where I've said yes to something, and I have no idea how the hell I'm gonna do it, but I know somebody that does. So I say yes, and then as soon as I leave, I quickly get on the phone with the person. I'm like, hey, how do I do this?
Figure it out.
Exactly.
No, that's great, dude. That conversation threw me off for a second, but in a positive light. But final thoughts. Anything that you want to say? This is an open forum for Mr. Bars Cholera. Do you want to say anything to the audience or to me?
No, I want to thank you very much for letting me be on the show, letting me share some thoughts, how I feel, bringing, myself attention, letting people know that I'm in real estate. I can help them in LA. I can help them in Dubai. I can help them anywhere in the world, really. And so that's a great value to me, which I appreciate. And that's basically it.
Yeah, and shout out to Bars Cholera. He also has his own podcast. Follow him on Spotify.
Oh, yeah,
and all the other socials. He's not just a real estate agent. This guy has a marketing degree. He's a sharp guy. If you also need like a diamond ring, this guy's a jeweler as well. Licensed from GIA, or is it GIA?
Just GIA.
GIA, which is the Gem Institute America.
Yep.
So
you need a car plug, you need a jewelry plug, you need a real estate plug. I got you.
this is the guy.
I'm a jack of many trades.
Jack of many trades.
Maybe one.
Many, master of many. But that's actually a rather good thing that they say if you listen to the whole quote. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This is Simulated Podcast. See you next time. Peace.
Take care.
That was good, boy. That was good. We out. Oh, good shit.